Welcome to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Now here along with Dr. Bonati, your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by our executive producer, Ethan Euchre.
I am here as always.
And our TV and radio senior fellow, Jeff Wagstaff.
Howdy.
That's it, huh?
Now, we have a new face joining us, and for some of you, you've seen him months and months ago. We have board-certified neurosurgeon Dr. John Grossmith in studio with us today. Thank you for being here, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, and glad to be here.
It's going to be fun.
We can't wait to hear his ideas and thoughts on Obamacare and if it's constitutional, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. You know, what sets the Bonati Spine Institute apart from other institutes is the fact that without Dr. Bonati's dedication and his method, they would still be doing invasive open spine surgery. But it was him. He started off with traditional open back and neck surgery, and he saw that the results really weren't there to help the patients. And he set out and he developed his own methods and instrumentation that brought relief to the masses.
I like to call him a trailblazer. I know.
He is.
You know, he really does and did blaze a trail, as you know, certain people do. They look at what their profession is, they see the problems with it, they figure out how to make it better and fix it, and then they get it done.
He wasn't one that stuck by those typical textbook teachings and thought, nope, got blinders on. Here's what I learned. This is the only thing that we can do.
This is it.
Very much an innovator.
Indeed.
Yes. And with that said, a recent 7.5-year survey reflects a patient satisfaction rate of 98.75%.
Incredible.
It's amazing. So we can get you back in motion. You can regain your strength and your hope. With that said, we have a jam-packed show. We're going to hear from Michael Branton, executive producer of Outrageous Births.
This looks like a cool show.
Yeah, Tales from the Crib.
It's one of these things where, you know, and I ran it by you as I do every guest.
Yes.
You know, typically we like to have innovators and people on the cutting edge and things like that. But this is
just interesting.
Yeah, to me, it's just fun. You know, it's like the people that give birth at a gas station, or one of the ones we're going to talk about is a baby that was born in a hurricane. And it's just kind of, it's cool. It's fun. It's lighthearted.
As if you weren't anxious enough, right? You need a hurricane on top of that.
Right. Exactly.
And then we're going to have Patrick Howley, the Daily Caller's political reporter, and he's going to be on the air discussing Obamacare and the coming death panels.
Yeah.
Can't believe that this whole law was passed. But
well, and Patrick is the one that the reason we got him is he's from the Daily Caller, and we all know about the Jonathan Gruber audio that came out calling the American vote stupid, this and that. Well, they found more audio of Gruber basically saying that these death panels that they laughed at Sarah Palin when she mentioned them back in, I think, 2008, they're coming. And Gruber said it, and he's one of the architects of Obamacare. So we'll talk to Patrick about that.
And then we'll hear what's new in American medicine today. But up first,
in today's Back to Life segment, we will talk to a patient of the Bonati Spine Institute who went from living a life that was restricted by pain and discomfort through their journey of finding the Bonati Spine Institute and are now living pain-free.
Well, I'd like to welcome to the show Bob Sconier. Sconier, of course. Leave it to me. Sconier. Welcome to the show, sir. Thank you for being here and sharing your story with us, because it is quite the story.
How you doing, Bob?
All right. How are you doing?
Good.
I'm doing well. Yeah, his story is
unbelievable.
Is pretty incredible.
So, Bob, why don't you start us off? How did you come to be in pain?
Well, in October of 2007, I got hit broadside. My car was totaled. It was hit hard enough to literally pick it up off the ground, do a 360, throw it up on the sidewalk, tear the front wheels off, and when it all came to rest, I am sitting there. The airbags had deployed, and I looked at myself. There was no blood. I didn't feel like I had any broken bones. I said, I'm alive. I must be okay. And I went to the doctor as a precaution, and within about 72 hours, I started having some neck and back pain, and it just continued to get worse to the point that I was losing over a period of time that I was losing the use of my hands and also using the cane to get around.
Wow. Isn't that interesting how that works sometimes? Dr. Grossmith, maybe you can chime in on this. Why is it that sometimes people like Bob get in an accident and they feel okay, and then it takes 2, 3, 4 days before they start to actually feel that pain showing up? Why is that?
I think early on in trauma, there's usually a lot of adrenaline, and as a result of that, I don't think your sensations are necessarily normal, and your mindset's not really normal if it's a pretty violent type of situation. So the other factor that goes with that is sometimes traumatic injury may not start giving you sensation for hours to days, depending on the amount of inflammation, bleeding. If you tore, say, the ligaments from bone, that may not be felt immediately. Or you may have other injuries that take away your attention from one area of the body, that after that's relieved, that you start noticing other areas. So
Gotcha.
There's a variety of reasons for it.
So, Bob, once you did start feeling pain, what did you decide to do? Did you seek out traditional treatment, chiropractors, things like that?
Yes, I went to a chiropractor. I went through physical therapy. I went to 4 different orthopedic surgeons and 1 neurologist. I also had pain management, and nothing worked. A couple of the surgeons said that there was nothing that they could do. Another one said there's no injuries that he could see because one of the previous MRIs that I had, it showed the lumbar where a disc had been shattered. About, I guess, close to a year later, another MRI was taken, and it showed absolutely nothing. He said it healed itself. And I said to myself, a shattered disc can't heal itself.
Exactly.
And I was in extreme pain. He told me I shouldn't be in any pain. He couldn't do anything for me, and my wife and I both started to do research, for what can we do? I mean, what can be done for me? And I had no idea about Bonati or minimally invasive surgery. I just knew that I had to have something done. And we came across the Bonati Institute on the web, and I made contact with them, and I sent them my MRI. They said they could help me, and indeed they did. I walked in there with a cane for my first set of surgery. I had the surgery in 2009 in the spring, and then I had to go back for additional procedures in the fall because I had to have 8 procedures done to correct what was had happened.
So let me ask you this. Bob. You got down there. You walked in. You were greeted. Everything was pretty much like a family, I heard you say, correct?
That's correct.
And so once you actually got up on the table for the procedure, like you said, it's conscious IV sedation, which means, Kimberly?
You're awake, aware, and somewhat alert, and able to interact with the surgeon. How was that for you during your procedure? Did you watch?
Oh, I absolutely watched it. And one of the things that I really was amazed at is where they would touch a specific spot and ask you where you could feel that, and you could do it right to the tip of your thumb, or you could do it, to the tip of your big toe, and they knew that they had the right nerve, and they were able to clear that out and correct anything that was impinging on it.
Bob, we talked to so many patients who have suffered injuries like you did, who've had traditional back surgery prior to finding the Bonati Spine Institute, and we've learned that it's weeks or months many times to get back into your everyday life. What was the recuperation after you were at the Bonati Spine Institute? How long did it take you to get back on your feet?
Well, of course, the day of the surgery, I went home. I did not need a cane, and I started walking, and I walked about 10 or 15 minutes at a time, 3 or 4 times that particular day. Then, of course, I had several other surgeries, and when all of the surgeries were done, I only, other than the time that I was in Florida having that surgery done, within 2 weeks, I was back to work after I'd gotten home.
Right.
and doing physical therapy at home, just some exercises, walking and so forth. I got myself back to, I had absolutely zero pain.
That's great.
And over a period of, from end of 09 to by 2011, I was doing 1,000 sit-ups a day.
Wow. That's insane.
1,000 sit-ups a day. As a guy who works out, I'm fairly intimidated by that number.
Kudos to you, brother. So, Bob, you said that you had zero pain after this procedure. Everything was good, and we're actually just about out of time. But what's most incredible about your story is that, and unfortunate, you had another accident, correct? Another auto vehicle accident and had to have surgery again, correct?
In 2011, I got hit by a truck again, and had to have a number of procedures done again. And I have made a 100% recuperation, and I have no pain from any of those. I can do anything I want. And I've done some hardwood flooring. People say you can actually get on your knees after having back surgery. Yes, I can get on my knees. I can do anything. I am definitely smarter than I was when I was young, so that I will not put any additional strain on my back. But
well, that alone, Bob,
what
I mean,
I feel is Bonati gave me my life back.
There you go. I mean,
and actually, Dr. Grossmith did my last surgery for me.
Actually, real quick, Dr. Grossmith is here if you want to say anything to him.
I just want to say thank you and God bless your hands.
Okay. Well, thank you
Bless
very
your
much.
hand. I love that.
That makes my day. Thanks very much.
All right, Bob. Well, we're out of time again.
Thank you for sharing your incredible story.
Great story. Continued pain-free living, my friend.
I thank you so much, and I recommend the Bonati Institute to absolutely everybody that I know that has any issues with their back or neck.
And Bob, you're calling in from, is it Maryland?
I'm in Bethany Beach. I retired, and I'm going to be living on the beach here during the summer, and I'm going to be living on the beach in Florida during the winter.
Oh,
Nice,
fantastic. Snowbird. All
There
right.
you
Well,
go.
thank you very much, Bob. Amazing story. I'm so glad you're in much better health. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Bob. Amazing, right?
These stories never get old.
Not just one, but
just
two.
Two horrific accidents.
I know.
And this gentleman made a full recovery each time with the Bonati Spine Institute. Amazing things happen. So if you or someone you know suffering with neck, back, or sciatic pain, they can reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute, 855-267-0483, or visit Bonati.com. Coming up after the break, well, we're going to speak to Michael Britton. He's executive producer of Outrageous Bursts, Tales from the Crib on Discovery Life, coming up after the break. Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years, and it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results, no pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now, I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonatti created, perfected, and patented the Bonatti spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonatti invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonatti spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonatti succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonatti Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonatti spine procedures, Alfred Bonatti, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonatti and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thanks for joining us for American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by our executive producer, Ethan Euchre.
Standing by, ready to go.
Also standing by is our senior fellow, Jeff Wagstaff.
I'm here.
Present.
And accounted for. And across from me, we have board-certified neurosurgeon Dr. John Grossmith of the Bonatti Spine Institute. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
Okay, glad to be here.
Excellent.
Well,
I'm excited about this one.
Yes, Michael Branton, executive producer of Outrageous Births, Tales from the Crib. And apparently it's premiering on January 15th at 9 p.m. on Discovery Life.
That'll be next Thursday, yep.
Yes. So pretty outrageous stuff. And as a mommy that's had a baby, I know how much anxiety one can have right as you're ready to give birth. I can't even imagine some of these stories.
Some of these are crazy.
Michael, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So tell us about some of these. I know, especially being based out of Florida as the show is, you hear about some really crazy ones. A woman recently just gave birth in the parking lot of a gas station. You just hear some nutty ones. So what are you guys focusing on and featuring on Outrageous Births, Michael?
Well, we did an outreach for months to get moms to come forward with their stories. We'd realized that on the internet, it seems like it's a big topic, and I know, having 3 children, that my wife loves to talk about her birth stories, and ours are interesting, but I think that there's some that are completely outrageous. So we reached out. Our goal was to find women who seemed very relatable, people that we would like to know, and often their husbands are in the stories as well. Or partners.
Right.
So the first episode, we have an amazing story about a woman who gave birth prematurely during Hurricane Sandy.
Oh.
So they live in New Jersey, and she was early. She was Strep B positive, which means that she needed to be in a hospital to give birth so that she could get a big load of antibiotics before the baby came out. And she, and Hurricane Sandy happened, and she went into premature labor on the way to the hospital. So the ambulance came, but the ambulance got stuck in the mud.
Well,
they called a fire department SUV, and they transferred her there, but then they got a radio word that the hospital power went out. So they actually diverted the SUV to a makeshift medical center in the basement of a church nearby. Wow. And an ER doctor who'd never given birth ended up giving birth, assisting in the birth, and the baby was successfully delivered. So that's sort of one of the traumatic stories we have. We also have a story about a woman who gave birth in a shopping mall parking lot because her husband was they had one baby, and he was so nonchalant about getting her to the hospital and really didn't take her seriously that they didn't make it.
I was thinking
her baby actually came out on the asphalt in the parking lot as she was lying there.
That poor guy will never hear the end of that story.
He will never hear the end.
I'm going into childbirth, and you take us to the mall.
I had to go to Dick's Sporting Goods. I need a new crossbow. Hey, Michael, there was actually a story recently out of Nebraska where a woman gave birth on an off-ramp because they were on the way to the hospital. It's a 25-minute drive. She just couldn't hold the baby in anymore. They pulled off the road on a highway off-ramp, and she gave birth. Oddly enough, and this might be one that you guys should look into if you continue the series, oddly enough, 2 years prior to that, she gave birth to a son on the same off-ramp.
Oh, come on.
I swear to you.
That one wasn't planned.
That wasn't planned at all. And what I'm picturing in my head is that the husband's probably sitting on the couch watching football, and she's like, my water's breaking. And he's like, babe, there's 2 minutes left. There's 2 minutes left. Let me finish.
In Nebraska,
I'll never make it off that exit.
Husker football is the biggest thing in the world.
There are a lot of
watching the game.
Fox stories, but we also have stories that have different kinds of emotional content. There's one story about a woman who had given birth to a son and wanted a second child, but she was unable to carry the baby.
Okay.
It just wasn't going to work. So she actually, her best friend agreed to be the surrogate, and it really tested the boundaries of their friendship because the woman was so jealous that her best friend was carrying the baby that, it was tough for them. We have another story about a woman who gave birth while her husband was in Afghanistan, deployed in the Army, and he had to be at the birth via
Skype,
a tablet, Skype.
Aww.
And it got, and she was trying to do a natural childbirth, and it got very complicated, and he ended up stepping in when she basically went into shock. And gave permission for the doctor to do some procedures that they needed permission for.
Holy cow.
So,
good thing he was there.
The stories run the gamut. It's amazing what stories. We've been really fortunate for the last 9 years to produce a show for TLC and Discovery Fit and Health called Untold Stories.
Of the ER? I've seen those.
And
it's a good show.
So we're very well versed in the medical world. So it was exciting for us when we embarked on this one. And on our debut night, which is December 15th, Discovery Fit and Health is going to rebrand itself as Discovery Life Channel.
Gotcha.
So we're actually, the big show on the opening night of a new network. So it's really exciting. And the first run of the season is 8 episodes, but we're still looking for moms for the next season. So if any of your listeners have an outrageous story,
how do they get a hold of you?
We would love to hear those stories. If they go on to the Discovery Life website, there's a link to casting.
Cool. Okay.
Michael, I'll bet you a dime to a dollar when this show gets out. The crazy once it starts to get people are aware of it, the crazy stories are going to come in from all directions.
That's what he's hoping for, I'm sure, right, Michael?
Yes.
All right.
We feel like every mommy has an interesting birth story.
They certainly do. All right, Michael. Well, again, Outrageous Births, Tales from the Crib. It's going to premiere next Thursday, January 15th at 9 o'clock on Discovery Life. Check your local listings to find out. There's several different versions of Discovery. So Discovery Life is the channel we're looking for. Executive producer of the show, Michael Branton. Thanks for joining us on American Medicine Today, sir.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks, Michael.
Very cool stuff.
Well, you're listening to American Medicine Today, brought to you by the Bonati Spine Institute. Coming up, we're going to speak to the Daily Caller's political reporter, Patrick Howley, to discuss Obamacare and the upcoming death panels. Stay tuned.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden. I can cook. And I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for continuing to listen to American Medicine Today. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by our executive producer, Ethan Euchre.
Glad to be here.
Senior fellow, Jeff Wagstaff.
Ecstatic to be here.
Whoa, you always got to one-up me, don't you? I say glad, you got to say ecstatic. What's up with you?
And of course, new to this whole fiasco, sitting in and filling in for world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. Alfred Bonati, we have board-certified neurosurgeon Dr. John Grossmith. Thank you for being here, sir.
I'll say happy to be here.
Yes.
All right, good. I'm glad you didn't say, like, astounded to be here, because then I would have been angry. But glad at the same time that you're here.
And on hold, we have the Daily Caller's Patrick Howley. He's a political reporter, and he is on right now to discuss the Obamacare and the coming death panels. So, Patrick, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. I was saying I feel so credible. I very rarely get to go on the radio with doctors, you know.
Yeah, actually, we saw your article, Patrick, and of course, being something that we talk about quite often.
Yes.
Death panels. We thought I got to try to get this guy. So I found you on Twitter. Shot you a little tweet. You got back to me. See, Twitter works.
It does. It does.
And then Patrick's like, "Yeah, I feel so credible," because as a writer and reporter, you probably don't do a lot of radio. So, catch us up to speed on this article and where we're at with Gruber and the audio and the death panels, and fill us in.
Well, essentially, a couple of, I guess, weeks ago now. I lose track of time on this, but I came across a video through a source of Jonathan Gruber talking about the stupidity of the American voter and the stupidity of the American people, and how when he was working with President Obama on trying to write the health care law, he had to deceive people, and he had to tell them that the bill was something different than it was. We were the first ones to publish that, and it became a big national story. And over the next couple of weeks, thanks to a number of sources and a number of researchers, we were able to unearth, a dozen or more videos and of lectures and transcripts of speeches that Jonathan Gruber gave. What really came of it was just this great narrative developed, being told by this guy, Jonathan Gruber, who was just so willing to share everything in a non-political way with the people that he was talking to at various academic conferences, about how they completely deceived people when they came up with the bill. There was no cost control in it, and yet the president went before the American people and said that costs were going to be controlled and were going to be kept down. They never had any plan to allow people to keep their existing plans. In fact, they said when they were planning it that people would not be able to keep their existing plans.
Yeah, I believe... Patrick, I also believe Gruber was quoted as saying that the only way to control costs is to effectively deny treatment.
That's right. Yep,
Unreal.
that's what he
Hence
said
the
in
death
that
panels.
video. And he said that a number of times. He felt very strongly about that. The only way that you can control costs, is by telling people exactly how expensive this treatment is, and therefore discouraging people from getting the treatment.
Mm-hmm. And what did he say in that one clip that we played earlier or later? Or the one clip we're going to be playing.
The Palin audio.
There's a clip that's on it because we've listened to it multiple times, but it talks about...
You want to just roll the clip?
Yeah, why
Hey,
don't
Patrick,
we?
stand by. I found this YouTube video that I thought was very poignant and just on point. It's about a year old, but it's basically a mashup of all of this talk that started with Sarah Palin during the campaign years ago when she brought up death panels, and then she was ridiculed and blah, blah, blah. Well, here, give a listen to this. It's pretty good.
Some of people's concerns have grown out of bogus claims that we plan to set up panels of bureaucrats with the power to kill off senior citizens. It is a lie, plain and simple. Plain and simple.
Nothing has drawn as much controversy as the so-called death panel.
There are no so-called death panels. There is no death panel. Death panels, the lie of the year. I heard that death panel argument from Sarah Palin. Such a charge would be laughable.
Just another example of President Obama lying.
We weren't so cynical and irresponsible.
Deceiving the people.
Deception, does that include the death panels, which were never real?
The shocking truth about Obama's health care plan.
Sarah Palin called them Obamacare death panels, and she was vilified for it.
Don't you know, she was right.
A growing number of Democrats proving her right, like former Democratic National Committee Chairman Howard Dean,
who also happens to be a medical doctor. He is screaming to high heaven a, quote, major problem with the Independent Payment Advisory Board, essentially a healthcare rationing body.
Bottom line, if they don't have a whole lot of years left, is it worth providing them costly medical procedures now?
Maybe you're better off not having the surgery, but taking the painkiller.
We're going to get the real solution, which is going to be a combination of death panels and sales taxes. We're actually going to take Medicare under control.
Nobody's pulling the plug on granting.
Take Medicare under control.
There's no government takeover.
This entire health law is a death panel.
Death panel? You're looking at it. Remember the case of Sarah Murnahan, that 10-year-old girl who wasn't allowed the adult lung transplant because Kathleen Sebelius wouldn't sign off? Did that sound like a death panel to you?
The little girl is a prime example of a bureaucrat being able to make that decision is a scary thing. This bill was always going to lead to rationing, but the important thing to remember is that's just one aspect of Obamacare.
I know that sounds scary to many folks. It sounds scary to me, too.
Why wasn't there just more honesty through this whole process?
I love that Howard Dean audio. Your thoughts on that, Patrick? Pretty dramatic, but it hammers the message home for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious at this point that there is a panel of bureaucrats. There's lots of different panels of bureaucrats that oversee the entire Obamacare process and are intimately involved in determining whether or not people can get certain kinds of treatment. And, they have a record of lying. People thought that they could keep their existing doctors. They couldn't. People thought that they could keep their existing plans. They couldn't. People thought that they could get their the same devices and the same medical technologies that they were getting before, the same prescription drugs that they were getting before. All of their lives have been put into disarray by decisions that have been made by panels of bureaucrats. So I think Sarah Palin was right about that. And I think it's become pretty self-evident that you have a small number of people in Washington, D.C. who have dramatically altered the healthcare system in this country in ways that they didn't even know. They didn't even know what the consequences were going to be. As Jonathan Gruber said, we don't know how to control costs, but we're going to go and we're going to tell people that this is what we're going to do, because the point is, if we can pass this bill, then we can give coverage to the millions of uninsured and the millions of poor people. Well, essentially, you just told a lie to the middle class and told them that they weren't going to have to pay more in order to, transfer this coverage to the lower class. And it's a very divisive kind of thing. I think it divides people along class lines. More so than any other major government program, more so than Medicare or Medicaid or Social Security or anything else. And Obamacare is now as big as any of those things. And I think it's just going to keep getting worse because we keep seeing unintended consequences of the Affordable Care Act that the people who wrote it didn't even know were going to happen.
Here's
wait. The people that wrote it knew what was going to happen. The people that signed for it really were the clueless ones. And unfortunately, the American citizens have suffered.
Yeah, that was the sign it, let it pass, and then you can find out what's in it.
Right. Exactly. Right. As Nancy Pelosi said, we have to pass it in order to find out what's in it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, because if we knew, we'd never pass it.
The part about this argument that just really has me, quite frankly, madder than hell is as I grew up in a very political family, I was always taught that Democrat, Republican, they're all good Americans, but they just have a different philosophy and a different approach. And I'd like to believe that to be true. But what we've learned is that not one person, not a small group of people, this entire administration and all the people who put this together basically hoodwinked the American people.
Great word.
To get something passed that, although they may believe in, and I think we all can believe that health care for everyone is something that we'd like to achieve.
That would be fantastic.
But the question is, how are we going to pay for it? This has become a healthcare has become a snowball of uncontrollable expenses.
Absolutely.
Now, how do we get it back in line?
And Patrick, I know in your article that you wrote for the Daily Caller, once again speaking with Patrick Holly, political reporter with the Daily Caller, Jonathan Gruber was quoted as saying, there's no reason the American healthcare system can't be, you can have whatever you want, you just have to pay for it. That's what we do in other walks of life. He says, we don't say everyone has to have a large screen TV. If you want a large screen TV, you have to pay for it. Yeah. So it's just unbelievable to me that it's come to this.
So it's a whole sham. It's a whole sham of affordable health care.
Right.
Yes. And then when you go to use it, oh, sorry, we don't think it's good for you.
Yep.
Yeah, if you want to pay for it yourself after you've already paid your high premiums.
So where do you think we're going with this, Patrick?
Well, the real interesting thing I think that's come out of this whole Gruber thing is just how little Barack Obama knew about healthcare when he first ran for president. If you remember back in 2008, he actually campaigned against the idea of an individual and an employer mandate. That was Hillary Clinton's plan. Obama said, we're not going to do an individual mandate, and that was part of the reason he got elected. As we reported last week, Jonathan Gruber was the one who was Obama's personal mentor to get him up to speed on health care. Gruber had been working with Ted Kennedy on this whole health care reform push since the 90s, since Hillary Care. Gruber was going before Congress testifying in favor of Hillary Care. So Barack Obama was really the last piece in the puzzle. No matter what Democratic president was elected in 2008, they were going to pass health care reform. It just so happened that the guy who knew the least about health care reform was the one who ended up implementing it. And so he turned to Jonathan Gruber and the same pool of experts that Hillary Clinton would have used, and they came up with the bill. And Obama was more willing than Hillary and more willing than John Edwards and more willing than other politicians to go in front of the American people and just lie about it.
Lie to them.
Old-faced lie.
Hey, Patrick, we're up against the break here, but we'll certainly keep an eye on it. I know you will as well. Political reporter with the Daily Caller up in D.C., Patrick Holly. Appreciate you joining us on American Medicine Today, sir.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
All right,
Thanks.
man. Have a great day. All right.
As I've said before, the Twilight Zone, they ran an episode and it was like, you are obsolete. They just decide, hey, we don't find any use for you. Goodbye.
We don't need you.
Yep.
See ya.
Sickening and sad. Well, you're listening to American Medicine Today, brought to you by the Bonati Spine Institute. If you or someone you know suffering with neck, back, sciatic pain, or RSD, reach out to them at 855-267-0483 or visit Bonati.com. You're listening to American Medicine Today. We'll have more after the break.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already, I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time, and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact, I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
You're listening to American Medicine Today, presented by the Bonati Spine Institute, featuring the internationally acclaimed inventor of the Bonati spine procedures, Alfred Bonati, MD. Once again, here are Dr. Bonati and your host, Kimberly Brumell.
Thank you for continuing to listen to American Medicine Today, brought to you by the Bonati Spine Institute. I'm Kimberly Brumell, joined by Ethan Euchre.
Here as always.
Jeff Wagstaff.
Present
and board-certified neurosurgeon, Dr. John Grossmith of the Bonati Spine Institute.
Hello again.
How are you, Doc?
Well, we're going to start off by going...
Yeah, we just talked to Patrick Holly from the Daily Caller about these death panels and the latest Gruber audio and this and that, and everybody laughed at Sarah Palin when she brought it up during the election.
She was right.
And it turns out, I found this video on YouTube, and it's from last year, but I found it very poignant, very timely for what we're talking about. So check out this audio.
Some of people's concerns have grown out of bogus claims that we plan to set up panels of bureaucrats with the power to kill off senior citizens. It is a lie, plain and simple. Plain and simple.
Nothing has drawn as much controversy as the so-called death panels.
There are no so-called death panels.
There is no death panel.
Death panels, the lie of the year.
I heard that death panel argument from Sarah Palin. Such a charge would be laughable.
Just another example of President Obama lying.
We weren't so cynical and irresponsible.
Deceiving the people.
Deception, does that include the death panels, which were never real?
The shocking truth about Obama's health care plan.
Sarah Palin called them Obamacare death panels, and she was vilified for it.
Don't you know, she was right.
A growing number of Democrats proving her right, like former Democratic National Committee Chairman Howard Dean,
who also happens to be a medical doctor. He is screaming to high heaven. A, quote, major problem with the Independent Payment Advisory Board, essentially a healthcare rationing body.
Bottom line, if they don't have a whole lot of years left, is it worth providing them costly medical procedures now?
Maybe you're better off not having the surgery, but taking the painkiller.
We're going to get the real solution, which is going to be a combination of death panels and sales taxes. We're actually going to take Medicare under control.
Nobody's pulling the plug on granting.
Take Medicare under control.
There's no government takeover.
This entire health law is a death panel.
Death panel? You're looking at it. Remember the case of Sarah Murnahan, that 10-year-old girl who wasn't allowed the adult lung transplant because Kathleen Sebelius wouldn't sign off? Did that sound like a death panel to you?
The little girl is a prime example of a bureaucrat being able to make that decision is a scary thing. This bill was always going to lead to rationing, but the important thing to remember is that's just one aspect of Obamacare.
I know that sounds scary to many folks. It sounds scary to me too.
Why wasn't there just more honesty through this whole process?
How about that, huh?
Wow. And what they're calling the death panels, IPAB, Independent Payment Advisory Board.
It sounds a little better.
Death panel.
A little more
palatable.
Palatable, a little more consumer friendly than death panels. But
Yeah.
what do you think about that, Dr. Grossmith? I know you had a few things to elaborate on when it comes to this topic and Obamacare as well.
Okay, I think this is a pretty big topic,
Yes.
and
Absolutely.
I think it's a topic that if you were to put it to a root cause, I would say that one of the most effective things that could be done is to bring the information to the masses in our country to become educated as to how to view, hear, understand, and take action as to what is going on. And I think in that respect, this would apply to a multitude of issues that go from healthcare to our economy, to our society, to our foreign policy, and the list goes on. So there's this book that's available out there, and I think most folks that they can get a hold of it, but inside of it, and in a lot of places it's free. There's this one line here in this book, and some of you may be familiar with this line, some of you may not be, but I'll just read it word for word in this particular book and see if it strikes a bell with anybody. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So basically, if you're not familiar with what that is,
Get out of this country, first of all.
and you don't have a deeper understanding of what that is, then you will have a belief system that can be manipulated by emotion. It can be manipulated by false reason. It can be manipulated by distorted ethics. And so this topic can't be discussed in 2 minutes, but I'll do my best to put together some thoughts that I think, I don't want it to be so deep, but at the same time, it's principle-based, so most principles are pretty simple. Right, wrong,
Yes.
this is the right reason, this is the wrong reason. So we'll try to keep it at that type of a level. So what is known in history is that there's considered to be 4 levels of happiness. The first level is at the basic, materialistic, or egocentric is a bigger word for that term. My food, I eat, I drink, I have car, I have this. So very self-centered. The next level is going to be an ego comparative where I have car, you have smaller car. I have house, my house bigger than your house. So another form of egocentricity, but comparative to your neighbor or whoever is around you. The next level of happiness is outside of yourself. Now you become contributive. You think above and beyond yourself. Because as human beings, we're wired for more than just I eat, I drink, I have house. We actually are wired to interact with each other, rather than be divided, rather than be split. We are, inside our brains, hardwired for being contributive, helping each other, helping somebody, helping a child, helping a family member. The next level would be higher yet, and that's along the lines of the Founding Fathers' level of thinking when they created the Declaration as well as the Constitution, because they were functioning at that higher level, understanding the nature of man and the belief in a creator, and in that sense, a creator that's Judeo-Christian. So that level would be at the faith or transcendental level. So that's at the higher cultural level. So societies that function at level 1 and 2, more superficial. At 3 and 4, higher. At one time, we were at level 3 and 4. We are now back down to 1 and 2. I'll continue this as we go along. But that's first thought.
That's really good stuff. Very
right on.
Philosophical, definitely
yes.
Right on point.
Mm-hmm.
But we're about out of time right there.
Yeah, well, you're listening to American Medicine Today, brought to you by the Bonati Spine Institute. If you or someone you know is suffering with neck, back, or sciatic pain, reach out to the Bonati Spine Institute, 855-267-0483, or visit Bonati.com. We are on ABC. Check your local listings Saturday at 7, and nationally on Bloomberg. Check your local listings both Saturday and Sunday. We'll see you next week.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.
This is the first time that I am pain-free after 18 years. And it's just wonderful. I love it.
Phenomenal results. No pain whatsoever.
My pain is virtually gone. Nothing short of a miracle.
Those surgeries gave me my life back.
Already I feel like a new person.
I'm going home new. I can chase my grandbaby now. I can garden, I can cook, and I'm really thrilled. The outcome's been remarkable.
I feel 100% better.
It's like a miracle.
It was phenomenal. It literally did change my life.
I was in a wheelchair at that time and I left here walking.
Every single pain that I had when I came here is gone.
I'm ready to go home and feel great. This place is great. Thank you.
Everything that they said they would do, they have done, and I'm very, very satisfied and happy with those results.
I knew in surgery, in fact I told the surgeon when he relieved the pain off the nerve.
The pain is gone. I'm feeling wonderful.
I have no pain. I feel better than I felt in 4 years from the surgery. It was almost immediate relief.
Today I am totally pain-free, which is just amazing. It's fantastic.
It definitely works. I mean, I really don't know what else to tell you. I'm happy.
Revolutionary in his field, Dr. Bonati created, perfected, and patented the Bonati spine procedures. Using his genius, Bonati invented precise tools necessary to minimize surgery, scarring, anesthesia, and recovery. So successful are the Bonati spine procedures, they consistently reflect over 94% patient satisfaction. 45,000 successful procedures have been performed exclusively at our location. Nearly half our patients suffer from failed back and neck surgeries at other facilities. Bonati succeeds where others fail.